What's going on, everybody? This is Russ Attitude, and you are listening to the You Want It, You Got It podcast. Today, I've been wanting to talk to this man for many, many years now, and I finally got the time to sit down with him. I'm speaking with Chad from the new band Curse Dealer. What's going on, Chad?
Hey, Russ. All the good things. How are you, man?
I'm pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Um, we've known each other, not tight, but we've known each other for over 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Y- it's it is pretty wild to think about that cuz I guess it's been longer than 30 years. Cuz I guess we
Probably
met
35 years.
yeah, right at 35 years. In in
Fuck.
in Germany, Weiblingen
hmm
is where I was
Um,
living and you were living where were you living at?
I was actually living off in a town called Harthausen, and it was a small, just a German town.
Yeah.
But we met in the seventh grade.
Yeah. Hanging tough.
We were doing something.
Yeah.
What brought you to
Yeah.
Germany, man?
What's that?
What brought you to Germany?
Oh man, military. My dad was in the army,
Okay.
we were living in we had been living in Santa Rosa, Florida, or Holly Navarre, Florida, and my dad was had got back in the military, and then we shipped right on over to Germany. Right after that, he started working over there, and he was over there, I guess, a few months before we got on a plane, and but he ended up finding a place for us to live in a town called Weiblingen, and it was probably about 35-40 minutes from Stuttgart. um,
Okay.
and yeah, that's where that started. Um, but man, what was the name of the place we were in
Well, we
school
went
at?
to two different middle school. We went to two different middle schools because they moved us.
That's
We
right,
um we, we were going to middle school. We started at RB at Robinson Barracks,
Robinson Barracks.
and then we moved to that compound fucking looking building called Valdez Barracks.
Valdez, the asbestos
It looked like a
ridden
prison.
prison. Yeah, yeah,
Yep.
we went to
Yeah.
school in a
Yeah.
prison.
Yeah. It was fucking nuts, dude.
That was a creepy
I can't
place,
believe it.
man. Yeah, that
Fuck
was
yeah,
a
it was,
creepy
man.
place. I can I can remember walking up those stairs right now and
Yep.
going down in that basement. Oh,
Yep.
yeah, that was
Because
where
down
all
in
the
the
asbestos
basement,
was falling off the walls. That was
it was
wild.
what, 3 stories, three
Yeah,
floors, 2 floors, 3 floors. Yeah.
yeah, man.
Um.
Oh, that
Damn, I
was a
can't believe
wild
they let us
time.
go to school there. Um.
Creepy.
So when I first met you, you were I've told you this, but I mentioned this to you one time, and you're like, "Nah." But you were an influence on what a lot of newer music that I had gotten into. I wasn't really into to kind of the rock world, the metal world, and that kind of stuff. When I first moved to Germany, I was kind of still into hip hop. I was into
Yeah,
LL and Fat Boys and Run DMC and that kind of shit, and
sure.
didn't really know much about the metal world. Um, but before I'd met you, I met this kid. I could fucking see his name. I could see this kid's name, or I can't see his name. I can see his face right now. But he introduced me and got me a Black Flag tape first and a Misfits tape first. And
Awesome.
I was like, all right, that's pretty cool shit. Not too shabby. And then I remember I met you, and I believe the first thing that you introduced me to was Suicidal Tendencies.
That checks. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, man. So I guess around the age of 11 or so, when I was living in Florida, I mean, I had always listened to music, but nothing really substantial. Just your average listening to music or whatever. But But when I lived in Florida, one of my best friends in the sixth grade, his name was Mike Everett, and I'm still buddies with him today, actually.
Hell yeah.
And but he and I were kind of the rockers in the school down there, and but we ended up just kind of diving headfirst into just straight up hair metal. Motley Crue is our favorite band.
Yeah.
Um, Guns N' Roses hadn't really hit yet. It was uh, Poison and just just Cinderella, all those things. Anything that our parents would kind of let us listen to, but but we're like, I
Yeah.
don't know about these dudes with all this makeup on, that kind of vibe. But then when I moved to Germany, um, um, I was really fortunate when I moved to Germany because we didn't live on the base. We lived on the economy,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
where I got to move, I ended up becoming best friends with three other dudes that were in the apartment complexes right across from me. So these German dudes just kind of took me in and were
Yeah.
just kind of I don't know what kind of experience you had, but these guys just were like baffled at an American that was cool that lived across the street from them, and turns out like we were literally the same age. Two of them were born this. I was born in July in 75, and one of them was born on July 1st, 1975, 1 hour before me. And he lived across the
What?
street from me. His name is Dirk. And then Toby was also born in July 1975, but he was born. I think his birthday is on the 21st. And so yeah, we were just immediately best friends and still are.
Yeah.
I like Toby literally comes over here and hangs out with me every year, every other year. This
Oh
past
yeah.
year he came and hung out with me down at my brother's house down in Tampa and brought his whole family and just had a great time for a couple of weeks. So had a great experience. But that said, um, there was this older fella that lived in one of the complexes too, and it was kind of funny. I was telling the story the other day. I remember being up in my apartment one day, and I heard this just crazy ruckus out in the street, and I looked out my kitchen window, and there was this long haired, leather jacket, tight pants dude with this old Mercedes, and he had just put four 12-inch speakers in the back deck of his Mercedes, and
Uh-huh.
and I opened the window, and he was blaring Sepultura's version of Orgasmatron, and I'd never
Okay.
heard that.
Yep.
Um, So I went downstairs because I'm like, oh shit, there's some heavy metal going on downstairs. I gotta go see what this is all about. So I go downstairs and meet this guy, and we end up talking and having, talking as much as we could. And he was like, "Man, I got to turn you on to all this music." And went up into his apartment, and he just starts pulling out all these records. That was the first time I heard Ministry. Mine's a terrible thing to taste. He pulled out the Sepultura, Orgasmatron, and Beneath the Remains, and Sodom and Tankard, and all these
Yeah.
crazy German metal bands that I had never heard of. Um, so I just was blown away by the cool stuff,
Hell
and
yeah.
of course being in Germany, they're into just the craziest metal out there. So
Oh fuck yeah.
so we were listening to a little bit of everything, but yeah, man, I fell in love with Suicidal. That was what at that time that spoke to me. I was an angry
Yeah.
young teenager, and you know, dad's off, you know, in the war. He's over
Yep.
in Desert Shield and Desert Storm, and I don't know if I got a dad anymore, and life is crazy, and shit's going on. I wouldn't hear from him for months at a time, while he was
Yeah.
while he was on duty. Um, but yeah, suicidal was the thing, and I was just fell real heavy into that, and my go tos were always Ice Cube, America's Most
Uh-huh.
Wanted, and anything suicidal. Join the army is
Yeah.
fitting. So it's man, I wish I was doing this at my shop. I literally have. I'll send you a picture of it.
Okay.
I have a poster of a Join the Army tour poster that I ripped off of the bus stop in 1987.
Wow.
Like right outside my house. Because they would, I don't know how it was at your place, but at my house, like the bus stop was right down the street, and like I have posters of Ozzy from the what was the record with Crazy Babies?
I know what
Uh,
you're talking about.
the first
Not
record
no,
with
not
Zach
no.
Wild. Yeah, the
Yeah,
first
not
record
no
was
rest
Zach
for the
Wild.
wicked.
Yeah, No Rest for the Wicked. So I've got
Yeah,
that poster that I snatched off the bus wall, but my prized possession was that Suicidal joined the army with the tour dates.
and you still
It was
have it.
1987. I still got it. My dad, uh, uh, when I moved out of the house, I had forgot that poster. It was in my closet, and to keep it from getting wrecked, my dad, to keep it from getting wrecked, he took it and he put it on a piece of wood and taped it like with clear tape all over the wood to make sure that I didn't
Uh-huh.
lose it. And that's at my print shop now. So yeah,
That's
man,
pretty
I,
rad.
I'm all into that.
Well,
So yeah,
well, it's funny because like I before you even were saying about your dudes on the economy, I knew that. I remember you had that hookup because you lived off base and you had those dudes.
yeah,
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe you brought one of those dudes to school one day with you or something.
absolutely. Yeah,
I
yeah. I
believe.
brought I brought I
Um,
brought Toby to school with me. Yeah,
Yeah. But no, I remember because you would find out about different music than I was finding out about because I would just buy the magazines. And it's like, oh, Motley Crue, Skid Row, blah, blah, blah. But you're finding out
yeah,
about these bands from Europe, like fucking Disneyland
yeah,
After Dark and fucking Tankard and shit like that. And, uh,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
Electric
yeah.
Boy, all that kind of shit, you know?
Yeah, 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 yeah. It was
Um,
it was crazy, man. Like I tell you, we that was one thing that we all three of us really just dove into music really heavy, and I remember my first job was at I worked I worked at a little convenience store on base. I want to say,
Chopette?
yeah, at a little shop at,
Yeah.
because my mom was running a
Yeah.
bookstore, and
Yeah. By the
and
hospital.
yeah, 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 by the hospital.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I worked in that little shopette for the summer, and the goal was I wanted a black BC Rich Warlock. I was like, I gotta have a metal guitar, and so yeah, I saved my money and ended up going down to Stuttgart to Königstrasse and going to a guitar
Uh-huh.
store with my buddy Toby, and we went in with all the money I had and bought a little practice amp and or I wanted just an all black BC Rich Warlock because Slayer, you know,
Yeah.
and but I got in there and they didn't have a all black one, but they had a black one with the crackle paint. So I got a
Okay.
black with white crackle, and I couldn't afford a guitar case. They sold me a guitar pedal, like a Metal Zone 3 guitar
Okay.
pedal, two cables, and this little bitty 110 practice combo amp. And man, I carried that guitar with no case. Um, like 45 minutes. I got on the train and sat on the train, hoping nobody was going to steal it and beat me up. And somehow we got home, and that's when I started playing guitar. So Yeah.
Uh, it's crazy because I got I didn't get any instruments until I moved back to stateside. I got a bass, but at that point in my life, I was like, I'll never play an instrument or anything. I just couldn't fucking figure it out. I didn't have nobody that played instruments and shit, or was into the same stuff I was into. Anyway, besides that,
Yeah.
so you were in Germany till when?
I moved back here in 90, let's see, 91.
Okay,
So I was over there 87, 88, 89, 90, and I moved back here in 91. And my
okay,
parents are originally from Georgia. So, uh,
all right,
after Desert Storm and Desert Shield, my dad was done with the military, so he just got out. He didn't want anything to do with it anymore. So he got out, and we moved back here, and I went to high school and just did all the things. And uh, about about a week into me being here, I met a guy that was an aspiring drummer at the same school. His name was Matt Haar, and we started just jamming, just out of boredom.
yeah.
And I had no, honestly, man, um, I got that guitar in Germany, and instead of that guy giving selling me a distortion pedal, he should have sold me a tuner, because I didn't even know you had to tune a guitar. I mean, I had
Fuck
that
no.
guitar for a year and couldn't figure out how to play a song because I didn't know you were supposed to tune it. Um, I just couldn't connect the dots. And obviously, being in Germany, it's not like we had YouTube or anything,
Oh
and
hell no.
I didn't have any other musicians around me. I just wanted a cool guitar, so I bought one. Um, but yeah, I got over here and met Matt, and we started jamming, and then out of necessity, I ended up buying a bass for and con my little brother into starting to play bass with me, and by the end of the summer, we started a band called Blue Druids, and we played as Blue Druids for hell the better part of 15 years or so. Yeah.
Wow, wow,
Put
wow.
out a couple records, and um but uh I found a great social circle
Uh,
in that little town of Griffin. Um and I'm still great friends with probably 30 people that just on a daily, like we have a really great friend scene here. So been really fortunate with
you
that.
you said your brother, is that Russell?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So
He
I for some reason I thought he was older. I thought he was older for some reason.
Nah,
He's younger.
he's a year and a half younger than me. Yeah,
Okay, okay,
almost
okay.
2 years. Yeah. So yeah, he started playing with me, and he's my best friend, and we talk all the time, and but life happens, and he ended up getting a great opportunity to move to Tampa, and fast forward, he owns an amazing tattoo shop in Tampa called Heart Tattoo, and him and a good friend of his, Squire, and yeah, it's really awesome. He's got a wonderful family, and I got an awesome niece down there who's an
Hell yeah.
amazing bass player. She just turned 10, and
Wow.
she's playing. Um, she is playing actually tomorrow. She has a concert tomorrow. She is fluent in ukulele, in
Wow.
piano, bass, and singing. And it's crazy because she's about as good as I am. Like, technically,
Yeah.
she
At
knows way
10.
more than I do, and she's 10. Yeah, it's wild. I went down there on July 1st on my birthday weekend, and she had a show, and went up there and got to see her play for my birthday, and she played, I think she played 10 or 11 songs in a show, and literally had only one practice with that band, and just jumped up there
What?
and played. Oh yeah, playing Weezer, Taylor Swift, um, like just killing it, and like no sour notes. It's ridiculous. Like it makes no sense at all. How good
What
of
were, what were you doing at 10?
dude. Yeah, exactly. What was I doing? I couldn't tell you, but it wasn't that. It
Yeah.
wasn't anything
No.
cool. It wasn't anything cool
No.
at all.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Okay. So
So
you said
coming
Blue
soon.
Druids.
Yeah.
So you said Blue Druids.
Hmm.
You were also in a band called Fatback.
I was so I started playing. So I was playing in Blue Druids, and my brother and I also had started a punk band called Big Fist and the Fuck You Ups, and we
Okay.
did that as well. And where instead of playing bass, he played guitar, and I just sang. And we would get bored. Like our friend circle had a bunch of talented, really talented musicians, so we would just go, let's start a punk band, and we'd start a punk band, and we'd do that for, a few years, and then. When I moved down here, there was a band called my first show here was a band called Evil Pugsley, which played like punk rock, just cool ass punk rock. Kind of, I guess, uh, it was Evil Pugsley, and a band called Hidden Agenda, a band called Fatback. Ended up well, when Evil Pugsley broke up, Fatback started, and they were a great, honestly, one of my biggest influences still to this day is Fatback. I'll have to sing you some tunes. I'd love for you to check it out.
Cool, cool.
Um,
Yeah.
but they were the heaviest thing that I had seen locally in a while, but also the tightest. It was Danny Pascal, Joe Pascal played drums, Danny Pascal played bass and sang, and this guy named Chris Phillips that played guitar and sang, and they were just the heaviest thing that I had ever seen live at that point locally.
Okay.
And I drew just a ton of influence from those guys, and still do. Like they're anyway. So fast forward, I played with them. Chris Phillips had ended up moving away, and Danny kept going with Fatback, and then we ended up deciding that we wanted to do some live hip hop. So we started playing live hip hop, and it was my drummer Vin from Blue Druids, and he played guitar in BFFYU. He and I were best friends for the better part of 20 years. He passed away a few years back, um, but we did a hip hop live hip hop band, and just played so many shows, and did like just on the radio, did TV stuff, did just all kinds of stuff with that. And where I met Steve Saunderson, who's still one of my best friends to this day, and
Boondock
um,
Syndicates.
yeah, doing Boondock Syndicate. Yeah. And then through that, Steve and I started managing a hip hop group called Boondock Syndicate. We did that for quite a few years, and military kind of broke that up. Those guys were all in the military. So
Oh,
that
really?
kind of disbanded. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Tori was kind of the head of that project for the most part, and he ended up getting stationed out in Wyoming. So that kind of put a damper on that. Day one, day one was in the military as well. He currently lives right down the street from me, actually. And then Bray, Med, all of them were still in South Carolina. Um, but so yeah, we did Fatback, did that. I was juggling a lot of bands at that point. I was playing with a good friend of mine. Her name's Chantel. She does like singer songwriter stuff. My brother was playing in a band called King Reno that did, kind of super drag type songs,
Oh,
really in
nice.
the vein of that vibe, and they were doing great, doing a lot of shows, touring a lot. Then man, what else was I involved in? Geez, I'm drawing a blank on my discography at this point, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So I've just always stayed real busy with music, and people got families and went to college and did all the things,
oh yeah,
and I just wanted to play music. So Blue Druids went on a couple of month tour, did that, and then my brother moved, and then just life happening and doing all the
for
things.
sure.
And fast forward, I did take a break from music for a while, just life happening, and but then I couldn't realize just trying to figure out why I was angry all the time, and then realized, oh yeah, it's because I'm not playing music. So we got to jump back into that. So I was a singer of a ska punk band for a while called Scatastrophe, which was fun.
Okay.
Uh, did that. It was a blast, full on horns and the whole thing. We did a ton of shows. Wonderful people in that band. Um, then I ended up starting a record label called Sex Sells Records, and put out
Okay, I remember that.
put out a compilation CD. Was actually the one of the first CDs to come out of that area. Put on a lot of bands doing that, and that was a blast. And then, man, what else did I do? I don't know. But fast
Did all the
forward, I ended up. Go ahead.
all the sex cell on the sex cell records? Did all the Blue Druid stuff come out on there?
Yeah, we released all the we put out two CDs, and that all came out on Sex Cells. King Reno CD came out on Sex Cells, Fatback on Sex Cells. We did a compilation with a hip hop compilation CD that we had put out called Third Coast the City, with Steve, and it had just followed the same format as the first Sex Cells compilation. Back in the day, remember when compilations were the shit? Like,
Yep, those are the thing. Mhm.
yeah, man, when Fat Records was putting them out, like all the punk bands were putting out compilations, and
I
it
mean, that's
just
how
made
you
a lot.
found out about music.
Yeah. It was it was it was our version of back in the day when we used to trade tapes.
Yep. Yep.
So we started doing that, and it was a lot of fun. Um, but yeah, we did that, and had a blast doing that, and never made any money, but it always paid for itself. It was a lot of fun, and
Oh yeah.
gave bands a chance to be on a CD way back in the day. It was 25, 30 years ago, whatever. So
Yeah.
it was a blast, man. And but anyway, fast forward, and I started doing Iron Whip, and had my clothing line. Did that all at the same time, and then ended up branching out and doing. Uh, I got asked to fill in guitar, or I'm sorry, fill in for bass for some buddies that had started a southern rock country band called Pearl Bottom Radio. And
All right, let's
fast
put up.
forward,
Hold up. Let's pause on that real quick.
yeah, yeah.
Let's go back. Let's go back a little bit here. So
Okay,
I remember you had the Regime clothing line for a little bit, correct?
correct. So
Okay. And
regime,
mhm.
so I've always been a screen printer. I started screen printing in high school. That's actually a fun story, but I that's how I graduated from high school. I was an awful student, but I ended up learning the trade, not only out of necessity, but that was the only way I was going to pass high school. So I did that, and needed shirts for my band, so I started printing T-shirts, and uh, ended up. I've always had screen printing equipment, but I've never really wanted to do it as a job. Now that's all I do. Um, uh, yeah, so I started a clothing line called Regime, which was going to be an extreme sports and racing company, because I knew a
Okay.
lot of people that were involved in drag racing and uh, bull riding and things of that nature. I had oh, that's why I had stopped music. I remember uh, I bought a bar. Um, so I bought a bar and then got involved in all of that, and that's where I met like a bunch of these people that I'm talking about, and then ended up starting Regime. And what we wanted to do was jump straight into uh, drag racing, bull riding, things of that nature. But we got hooked up with some great illustrators. Asian Mike, who also goes as 3 Pound God. He's been my illustrator for everything that I've done basically for the last
Okay.
10, 12 years. Um, and then a great artist named Kevin Gray, who was at the time the head caricature artist at Busch Gardens down in Tampa. And
Okay.
but he was a comic book artist, is what he wanted to do. Now he's a tattoo artist. He works at Atomic Tattoos down there in Tampa. But we came up with these cool characters and these witty slogans and stuff like that, and did all our due diligence. But then when we were getting ready to start going to these events, some life happened, and we just ended up not being able to do that. So we put that on hold. But in the meantime, I had uh, came up with an idea that I wanted to start a clothing line that represented the South without a rebel flag on it, because I'm just not down with all that madness. So I ended up starting a clothing line called Southern as Fuck, and it was basically based around building a community that was proud to be from the South without all the racial connotation, and
Fuck yeah.
just to have fun. And we did that for a better part of 8 years, and did a lot of touring and traveled all over selling shirts. But our goal across the board was to support local music. And what we would do is we would go to these events. Well, not only did I print shirts for these bands that were on tour, but I would also go and set up at their shows, and I would be their merch guy for free. Um, and I would print their shirts, I would sell their shirts for them for free, and then I would also sell SAF shirts, and I would give them a cut of the SAF shirts that were sold that night. And SAF shirts always, for just because of what it was, SAF shirts generally always outsold everybody's shirts there. So the bands always walked out with a grip of cash that they wouldn't have normally made. Plus, I would give them a break on printing their shirts because they were working with me, and then they would get me in boot to be their merch guy for the night. So,
Yeah.
so the band, it was honestly, it was a way for me to support music. It was a way for me to, and at the time I really wasn't in a band. I wasn't playing with anybody when I first started it. So it was also a way for me to be in the community without having to rely on other people. So I just
Yeah.
kind of made my own blueprint and got out there and was able to socialize and have fun and support the scene, um, and help create a little bit of a community for a short amount of time. That was a lot of fun, and did
Yeah.
that, and um, had fun with that. But then when uh, it just got to where um, I wouldn't. I had a hard time selling shirts to people that it became a battle that I just didn't want to fight anymore. It was always having to explain what it was, why I was doing it, what sense does it made, and people didn't really understand it. And when COVID hit, obviously clubs shut down, venues shut down. We didn't know if
Yeah,
we were going to be able to do it anymore. And I didn't like selling shirts online. I liked selling shirts face to face because I didn't want the wrong people buying my shirt thinking it was something that it was not. And
for sure.
so I just got tired of it, to be honest. And then so I stopped doing that and just focused
Well,
solely on screen printing. So yeah,
well, I will say this: I thought all the stuff that you put out with even the early regime stuff was pretty. That shit looked dope. But all the
thanks.
Southern as fuck stuff, that stuff. I mean, there was so many dope ass designs that you did, and I've got quite a few. I didn't realize how much I of designs that I have of yours in there, and every time I wear it though around here, because it's the South, everyone's like, "Man, that's a pretty cool fucking shirt. Where'd you get that?" I was like, "Well,
Yeah,
homie did it." Of course, I don't believe he's doing it anymore, but it was a company he was running, and I was lucky enough
yeah,
to get some of this stuff. I still wear the hat with I have the hat with the flip bill with the says Southern as fuck. I
yeah,
still wear that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
often.
Dude, that was what was so cool about it, right? You could walk in. I man, like the people that really got it, they got it. And it was really cool because you could wear one of those shirts down into Atlanta, and you could walk into the Masquerade or any of the shows like the Earl, the 529. You could walk into a bar, and somebody in that bar is going to know what that SAF shirt and who and what it was, right? And it was uh it was just a lot of fun, man. And it was like, even if you didn't know the people, you instantly had a connection with that person because they had a shirt at home too. And
Yeah.
I remember one guy would hit me up and he was like, man, I was wearing my SAF shirt. I walked into a bar and the bar back was wearing an SAF shirt too. And he immediately pointed me out and sat me down and bought me a drink. And now we're best friends, you know, that kind of, it was just cool to have that kind of connection. Of course that didn't work with everybody, but it was wild, man. I met some wonderful people through that, and made a lot of great friends, and just I could literally do a whole episode with you just on stories, just based on experiences just from that era of my life that were so wonderful that I still have great connections with them. I mean, Captain and Bill came out of that. And they're some of the best people I've ever met. I talked to Chris yesterday, as a matter of fact, and they're in Ripley's Believe It or Not. They were on America's Got Talent.
Right.
They're the best sideshow couple in the world. I mean, they've been in
Yeah.
movies. And they tour. They literally just went to Chicago today. They're touring around with Villain Arts doing. They host all of those big tattoo conventions year round, and Chris is still managing Sink or Swim tattoos and piercings up in Atlanta, or sorry, Sandy Springs, wherever it's at. I can't remember, but I just have so many wonderful friends and memories from that era that I mean, the I've thought about bringing it back. I've thought about all of that, but it's just things are different now, and
Oh,
and
for
and I'm
sure.
older, and I just want to have fun. I don't want to have that. I don't have that punk rock in me anymore. You know what I mean? I'm not dying on that hill. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah, I got.
um,
I
it-
understand.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, but I remember one time you messaged me and you're like, "Hey man, it was a Wikipedia page. It was it the bass player, the guitar player from Mastodon, and
yeah,
the default picture was him wearing an SAF shirt because it had
yeah,
the on the sleeves." And I was like,
yeah.
That picture is no longer there though. They have now changed the picture.
Right on. Well, I'll
So
tell you something else that's cool too. So, Troy, the Mastodon guys are just the nicest guys ever, right? And they're the coolest rock star, not rock star folks I've ever met.
Oh yeah.
And Troy, so um, actually, let me rewind a little bit. So Kyle Sanders, who is currently the bass player for Kerry King band,
Oh, okay,
and
cool.
at the time was playing with Hell Yeah. Um, I had, or a buddy of mine was going to. He has a pool party every year for his family and close friends, and I had a buddy that was going, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give you a bag full, because I didn't know the Mastodon guys at the time. I was like, I'm going to give you a bag full of SAF shirts, and if you would just take them up and give them to them, and if they want to wear them, cool. If they don't, that's cool too. But take them and give them to them, and they did. And next thing I know, I saw Troy on a live show on YouTube wearing my shirt. Fast forward, he was just the sweetest guy, and he wore a SAF shirt for the better part of 3 or 4 years, man. Like, and at one point, the Hard Rock Cafe out in Vegas put a display, a Mastodon display out at the Hard Rock Cafe out there, and they were all asked to give an item of clothing for the display, and Troy gave them one of his SAF shirts, and it
Fuck
stayed
yeah.
on display out there for, I think, a few years, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
was super cool. And then when
Yeah.
they got nominated for the Grammy, he wore it to the Grammys too, and I was like, "Oh man,
Fuck
I printed
yeah,
that in my
man.
garage." I printed that in my garage. That's so cool. But
Hell yeah,
yeah, man,
man.
and then you got Kyle, who, hell, half of his career with Hell Yeah, he was wearing an SAF shirt. I mean, and just the nicest guy. I was texting with him a couple of days ago too. Um, I mean, they're just that whole family. Darren, I don't know if you're familiar with Darren, one of the other Sanders brothers, but he's like one of the bet I don't even know Darren, to be honest. I'm an acquaintance with him just in passing,
Gotcha.
but he's one of the hardest working roadies on earth. I think currently he's on tour with Mastodon, Lamb of God, and Kerry King as well. But he works with everybody from Slipknot to everybody. But they're just the sweetest family,
Yeah.
man. I got
Well,
to
that's
meet
cool,
their
man.
mom. Yeah, I got to meet their mom and dad at center stage at Hell Yeah one time, and their mom and dad's awesome folks too, man. Just I couldn't meet a better group of people. Yeah, it's cool.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, man.
So that answers my question on what happened to Southern as fuck. But I agree with you. I understand what you're talking about, man. It's different times these days, and what
Yeah,
you don't need the headache. You don't need that headache, and just move on.
yeah. And there's and it, it also turned into, there's a lot of people see things people see something that's making money, and then they take it to another. I was at home one night a few years back, and somebody was at a Seven Dust concert, and there was a vendor set up, and they were selling Southern as fuck shirts at a Seven Dust show in Atlanta. And the guy, somebody walked up, and actually I had like 3 people hit me up that night, and we're like, "Hey man, are these shirts? Is this you?" And I was like, "What?" And they sent me a picture, and I was like, "Nah, that ain't me. I don't know who that is." And so that guy got run through the ringer, because all those people went over there and was like, "What are you doing? This isn't you. This is Chad stuff. What are you doing?"
Yep.
And the guy was like, "What are you talking about?" He pretended like he didn't know who I was, and like, come on, man, it's okay. Just don't pretend like you don't know. I've been running the scene with SAF shirts for the better part of 8 years. Come on, man. You know who I am. It's okay. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
was just about to ask you about that. If you got if anybody bootlegged you, like
all the
said
time.
that. I mean, made their own shit. It's kind of like the
Well,
same thing with Met Syndicate. I mean, he gets bootlegged all the time on
yeah,
websites. You see these shirts up, and he's like, and you'll see they'll print these shirts, and he always puts like a little watermark on all his designs, and you'll see them print the shirts with the watermarks on it because I don't see it. But I'm just like, but
yeah.
everybody's trying to make a
You can
dollar
go
because
on.
somebody else is making a dollar.
Yeah, man, you can go on Amazon right now, and there's Amazon Southern as fuck shirts right now.
Yeah.
But they
You
all got a
you
rebel
can't you
flag
could you
on.
should have trademarked. Oh, fuck that.
Well, I did trademark
But
Southern as fuck. I have the paperwork in my closet. I trademarked
yeah,
Southern as fuck, but I just, you know, I don't, I don't care, man.
yeah.
It's neither here nor there. But yeah, I've got the paperwork in my closet. I trademarked that. Actually, as soon as I'm a big fan of Fucked, Fuct, the clothing line.
Yep. Mhm. Mhm.
And Eric Brunetti is responsible for the word fuck being trademarkable now. Because before you couldn't, it was the government wouldn't recognize it as something you could trademark. I obviously can't trademark the word fuck, but I could trademark
Yeah.
now because of him the words Southern as fuck together as a clothing line. And yeah, I own that trademark. So yeah, whatever.
I actually have some FUCT shirts. I was going through my shirts because I was trying to look for some of your old stuff and the Iron Whip shirt, and
Yeah.
I found some of my old FUCT shirts, but they're like XXLs and shit. Because when I used to skateboard, they're all baggy and shit, you know.
Right, right,
But I
right,
bet you
right, right.
I could probably sell them for some money though.
Oh yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
All that old school Brunetti stuff, man. That all of that stuff is worth
Mhm.
money back in the day for sure. That dude's still running
Because
strong.
because FUCT, I mean, it wasn't just skaters. It was skaters, ravers. You know, it was graffiti artists. It was people in band.
Yep.
It was everybody was rocking FUC. Just like Supreme
Yeah.
back in the day. Everybody was rocking Supreme back in the day. You know.
Yeah. But
Um,
Fucked is actually the original. They are the very first streetwear company ever. It's
really.
FUCT. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They were hands down the first ones to do it. And still the longest and strongest. They put out a new collection all the time. I got an email yesterday for a new collection that's coming out. It's weird. Yeah, it's awesome. It's good for
Um,
him.
here in Nashville, there used to be a band called FUCT,
Yep,
and
I
and
remember.
they ended up breaking up, and then they started a band called Buzzkill, and the drummer of the band Buzzkill was this guy named Hank the Third.
Yeah,
And everybody
yeah,
knows that man, you know. But
yeah.
yeah,
It's a
I
small
think the
world,
band
man.
it's the
Yeah, it's a
South.
small world with that because my cousin's band was called Miller's Tale, and they had the same manager as Hank the Third, and so they were coming up to Nashville all the time, and they did a bunch of tours with Hank the Third and Ass Jack. So
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
man, small world, good
Back in the
stuff, man.
day, when Hank was, or what is Shelton? He was going by Shelton at the time.
Yeah,
He was he played here in Clarksville often with the band Buzzkill, and then later on down the road, he obviously went on to become the drum. Was it the bass player or the drummer for Superjoint?
uh, I think he was the bass player for Superjoint.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I can't remember though. But yeah, it's crazy
yeah,
though. So there's a lot of crazy. It's like it's crazy how many people or that have gone on and done things with people.
yeah,
Um.
man.
So you said Southern Fuck went on. Is done. Um, and then you get asked to play with Pearl Bottom Radio.
Yep, got asked to play bass for Pearl Bottom Radio for a show that they had, and yeah, I'm an awful bass player, so I was like, I mean, I'll come fill in for you if you need to, but I play bass like a guitar player, and that's trash, um, but but I went and did it, and I had a blast, man, and it was really easy. Um, to slide in that role. Uh, the songs were good. The songs were catchy. They were all people that were easy to get along with, and David is just an amazing guy and a great guitar player. And I've known Lee, the singer, for years and years, and he writes great lyrics, and he's a good storyteller. And then Danny from Fatback, um, uh, he's a bass player and a singer, but um, he just went and learned how to play drums just so he could play drums for Pearl Bottom Radio. So I mean, the songs were kind of simple, but it's country southern rock stuff. So it's
Yeah.
not like he had to do a bunch of blazing drum rolls or anything. He was just four on the floor. And so Danny hit me up and he was just like, hey, we got this show. Just need a bass player. If you want to come and play, it'd be great. So I went and learned the songs and went and played a show with him a couple of weeks later, and had a blast. And then fast forward, we ended up playing at the local spot down here, Motorheads, that we love so much, and old friend of mine named Ian was there, and I got off stage, and he was like, "Boy, if you don't give me that bass and get on guitar where you belong," and he ended up playing bass with us, and we ended up putting out 3 great records with him. And then he ended up leaving a little over a year ago, and the band's still going, but COVID happened,
Yeah.
so we had to shift gears with all of that. But so we have a new bass player now, who is somebody else that I went to high school with. His name's Blake. And then I was doing in between all that, I was still playing with Iron Whip, but Iron Whip wasn't really just wasn't able to play as much as I wanted to. And our bass player Alan, he ended up he's got a union job, so he ended up getting a pretty sweet gig that took up a lot of his time, so he just didn't have time
Yeah.
for it. So Iron Whip kind of fell apart, and then Terry and I started playing with Ian to do a new project, and which ended up being Curse Dealer. And then Terry couldn't really commit to any touring or anything like that, so we ended up getting one of a guy named Tyler Davis, who was in a band with Ian a few years back. Who he had a band called Skies Fall and another band called Accelerant, and he had just moved back and he wasn't really doing anything. So Tyler jumped on board, and we started Curse Dealer, and now we have Josh Jones from Be It the Means playing with us. So it's gonna get pretty wild and fun. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at.
So curse dealer. How long is this? Like, when did you come up with this like, 'cause this is obviously something that you wanted. Is this like this band was your idea, curse dealer, or is it a group of y'all just
Yeah.
together?
So, again, I love playing with Pearl Bottom Radio, but my heart's always been in metal, right? So, I'm not stopping playing with Pearl Bottom Radio. I really love playing those songs with those guys, and we get a lot of great shows. We're playing. We've got a show in September 20th at Falcons Fury Harley Davidson, doing their big anniversary party, which is always huge. Then we've got November. We're playing at the Big House down in Macon. Are you familiar with the Big House at all? Um,
No.
it's the Big House is where the Allman Brothers lived.
Gotcha.
They owned a
Okay. Oh, okay.
they own a big house there, and it's now a museum, and they have bands play there sometimes. So we were playing there,
Oh,
and
right.
then we got another show in October at Motorheads as well. So we stay pretty busy with Pearl Bottom Radio, which is great. But but I don't really write a whole lot of songs with Pearl Bottom Radio. The way that the structure works with that band, David and Lee really write most of the songs, and then I just kind of come in and sprinkle stuff on top, sing some backups, do some delay on the guitars and make noise, and then we record a record. But with with Curse Dealer, I up to this point I write pretty much everything with the guys, but I come up with riffs and structures, and the fellas help me mold it all together and whatnot. But it's a good outlet for me. It's a way for me to yell at shit without offending anybody. So I
Yeah.
like to do that. Yeah.
What kind of style is Curse Dealer?
Well, up to Josh joining the band, my influences are heavy in 90s, uh, uh, mainly early 90s, post rock hardcore stuff like that. Helmet, Jesus Lizard, Melvins, uh, that's kind of where I pull my influence from. But it shakes out sometimes. It's sometimes we got like little Soundgarden vibes and little Jane's Addiction vibes and little things of that nature. Uh, but I feel like the trajectory of the band, like, I'm not a good singer. I sing out of necessity because it's so hard to find a good singer. I'm sure you've had the same issues,
Yeah.
right? You got a band and you want to play, but you can't find anybody that will commit and do the thing. So you just start yelling out of necessity. Well, um, with Curse Dealer, I know what our ceiling is, and our ceiling is my voice, right? So um, I wasn't looking to get a singer, but um, but when the opportunity came for somebody like Josh to be in the band and to have that
Yeah.
voice that gives us options to broaden our music horizon, and obviously because he's a great singer and songwriter, it's just going to open up doors for us to have a lot more options for shows. I want to be able to play somebody's backyard garage, but if somebody big asks us to go on tour, I want to be able to do that. And now I have a band that's able to do that. All the fellas are ready to record and then hit it and start playing as much as we can and tour as much as we can. So I'm not getting any younger, and
No.
I still got a lot of piss and vinegar left in me. So so I'm ready to get out there with some fellas that want to do the same. So
Do you
yeah,
guys
that's
have recorded stuff yet?
uh, we recorded a couple of just demoed a couple of songs about 3 or 4 months ago. Um, that was kind of the point where I was like, okay, we did that, and I really wasn't happy with the way the vocals turned out. And had actually approached the guys and were like, hey, this is. I think for us to get further than just playing Atlanta and Alabama, we really need to step back and talk to somebody about possibly singing for us. And the guys were hell bent on me making it happen, and I was okay with that. I was just like, all right, you know I'll take your advice. We'll do this. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm the worst singer in the world. I'm not, but I'm nowhere near what I hear in my head. And
For sure.
um and singing the way I do for the last 30 years, hasn't done my voice uh, any favors. It's just gotten worse because I have no training. I just go up there and yell, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm not going to sing anymore because I love singing. I'm
Oh
just not
yeah.
that good at it. You know, I can carry a note here and there, and I can sing some backups, and on the heavy parts, I can do some raw. You know, and I'm down with that. But with Curse Dealer, what we're looking to do now with Josh is, um, you know, he'll be carrying the brunt of the load on that. But we, you know, the first thing he said is when I sent him the demos, he was like, "Look, man, I like the direction you're going. I like what you're doing. I don't want you to stop. Um, but I think we should do a lot of dual vocals. So that's the
Oh
plan. We're
yeah.
gonna, you know, we're gonna pull a Kiss, you know, Baroness, Alice in Chains, you know,
Yeah.
vibe, and have some fun with it, you know. And if it sounds good, cool. If it doesn't, I'll stop. You know. Yeah. But that's kind of the vibe we're looking to do, and with the way Josh plays and his tone is he's, you know, I'm SG Les Paul, you know, heavy distortion and fuzz, and Josh is the exact opposite. He is clean overdrive and chicken picking, like, and doing slide. You know, that guy's a true talent. And but when we put them both together, we're covering a vast dynamic sonically that it's just a blast. And then Ian is such a great bass player, and Tyler's such a good drummer, and Ian has a lot of crazy pedals, and he broke out and started playing bass six on a couple songs, and so we've just got like a, you know, a large palette, and we're really excited to see what shakes out. So the plan right now, as far as that goes, is, you know, Josh is going to start coming over, and we're going to start writing really fast, and we hope to record within the next 2 months. Is the
Oh
plan.
yeah.
We're going to take my songs, a couple of songs that he has. We're going to kind of shuffle them up, um, rearrange a few things, and then get into a studio, and you know, probably do a small EP, 4 or 5 songs, if that. You know, we may just do two, and then I work real closely with Josh Kirk from Kirk Films. He's done all my video stuff. He did the promo video that you saw for Curse Dealer, and
Dope.
thanks, man. I really enjoyed doing that.
Yeah.
It was a blast to get that knocked out. And so our plan as of right now is really to focus on one good song, get it recorded, get a video shot, get it out there so people know what we sound like, and then just start playing shows, and then start dropping an EP shortly after that is the plan right now. So.
Um, did you guys demo with Thomas?
Thomas?
Yeah, from what Face of Fears or Face to Fear? What was that
Oh,
band?
Face All Fears. Manhack.
Yeah,
No. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, we
Now
didn't. So Thomas,
they
man, yeah, Thomas is an anomaly. That boy is a genius.
how do you know
No,
him?
he's my cousin.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
That's what I thought.
yeah,
See,
yeah,
I
yeah.
actually met him. I met him on like MySpace, and before I even knew you guys knew each other, well, you guys were family. I knew him, and then you were like, "Oh yeah, that's." I'm like, "Okay, yeah," because he had some badass shit back in the day. They were doing some
Yes.
stuff,
Yeah.
still
So,
doing stuff.
oh yeah, man. The new Manhack record is massive. It's so good. No, Thomas does all his own recording, and then I think that he goes somewhere and has drums played on it, or maybe he
Gotcha.
programs drums. I'm not sure. But Thomas does it all. He's a one man show. I remember because I was in the military family. I really didn't get a chance to grow up around him, right? And so one day we're at a Christmas family dinner, and he's like, "I play guitar," and I was like, "Sure you do." That was okay, cool. I play guitar too.
Yeah.
It's cool. Whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
But then he goes, then like a year later, I don't know, whatever. Sometime he hits me up and he goes, "Hey man, Guitar World just put one of my videos up on their website." And I was like, "What?"
What?
And he was like, "Yeah, I did. What was the Beethoven, the Bumblebee or whatever? I don't know the song.
Flight of the Bumblebee. Flight of the
Yeah,
Bumblebee.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So have you
Yeah.
seen that,
I remember that. Yeah. It was
dude?
gnarly, dude.
Oh man, he was shredding. He playing bass, guitar. He did all the rhythm, did all the bass, and then did all the lead stuff. And I'm just going, who is this doing this? Dude, he's so talented. He is so talented. And then I found out he was in Face All Fears, and it was funny. I didn't. We ended up playing a show together. Iron Whip had just went and we went and played South by Southwest, and just were doing some stuff. And then on a show coming back through, we played down in Columbus, Georgia, at a place called the Plug House, and they were doing some big festival. And Face All Fears was one of the headlining bands, and we played earlier that day. And yeah, Thomas jumped up there and played bass and killed it. And I ended up doing their merch and helping them put their last CD out. And just such a talent. I mean, all of those dudes. Nardone is doing his own thing now, and the singer Nardone actually shot the album cover. He's a great photographer, but he shot the album cover for Pearl Bottom Radio's newest record, High Flying Flame.
Oh,
That
really?
dude's super talented, and he just put out a new single as well. I can't remember what it's called, but it's great. But yeah, man, there's just a wealth of talent right around here. I mean, it's in Thomas is just yeah, the man. If you haven't seen Manhack or checked out Manhack, Manhack is
Oh,
the
yeah.
truth.
They're
God damn, they are so good. I mean, I don't. I
they
honestly don't. I could probably count on one hand how many bands I've seen live that are as tight as Thomas and Manhack, and the rest of those bands are national acts. Thomas is the real deal. He's a
dude,
monster.
he is Manhack has like I think like 40 or 50,000 fucking monthly listeners on fucking Spotify, and I'm just like, I remember when they were getting ready to play their first show, and you were printing up their merch, and I was like, man, first off, this merch goes hard as fuck, and then
Yeah,
because
and
I forgot who they were opening up for.
yeah, I don't know, but they got on
Yeah.
that on one of those festivals at one of those death metal festivals that come through. What I can't Slaughter or some I don't know, Summer Slaughter maybe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Um.
that sounds about
Anyway,
right.
one of those festivals, they won like some competition and went and destroyed the place. But they've played with everybody, man. Those dudes are so talented, and I don't know why they're not on tour full time. They are the tightest band I know, except for Dead Register. So you know, but
Now what about are those boys of yours too? Dead Register?
yeah, man, Shavasta and April are. Shavasta has been seen, like he has been coming to my shows and talking me up for the better part of 30 years. He is he is truly one of my biggest influences. Such a talent. So I'm holding this weirdo guitar because um, he plays bass six, and he turned this baritone into a bass six for me, so I can learn how to play bass and bass six, and it's pretty cool. But he yeah, man, like he does all my guitar setups now, and he's just a monster songwriter. But he just did a solo uh, of "Hello" from Lionel Richie. Have you heard that yet?
Really? No.
It's,
Is it a Dead Register song
well, look up.
or a solo?
I think it's his solo stuff.
Right.
It's so it's so dark, and just creepy and amazing. He's such a good singer. Let me pull it up real quick,
Yeah.
just so I can make sure.
Yeah, I got my little notepad. I always write shit down during every fucking podcast. I write my little notes.
Yeah, it might be under Dead Register. Let me see. But he shot a video for it, um, and put it out, and he's just a monster. I don't know. I'll send you a link
Yeah, yeah.
when
Just
I find it. But anyway, yeah, Dead Register are like stadium ready band, and just can't seem to just haven't talked to the right person yet. I don't know what's going on with them, but they're absolutely the one of the best bands I've ever heard in my life, and not just because they're friends of mine, but they're the heaviest band in the world with no guitar.
wow.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
his wife Avril. She plays keys and holds down all the low end, and Shavasta plays bass six and four string bass, and then they got a drummer. And just if you like Typo Negative, Neurosis, The Cure, um, he slammed all of
Oh,
that together and just creates the most beautiful
oh
songs,
yeah.
man. But yeah,
I mean,
they're great. I help them as much as I
Atlanta
can.
has a Atlanta has a bunch of fucking great bands that come out of that area. I mean,
Yeah,
didn't that band Horrors come from out of there?
yeah, Horrors, Christian,
Yeah.
and yeah, Horrors is from there.
I-
Um, so their original drummer, well, not the original, but Travis Owen is a great friend of mine, and he used to play in my other cousin's band, Miller's Tale, the band that I said that went and did stuff with Hank the Third. Travis was the
Gotcha.
drummer for them, and he helped push Whores and put out, I think, the first. I want to say he was on the first two EPs for Whores, and then he left Whores and was the full time drummer for Weed Eater, and was with
Oh,
them
nice.
for I guess about 7 or 8 years, and then he quit playing for them. He opened up a awesome hot rod shop in East Atlanta called Village Garage and Custom, where he's got a really successful mechanic shop up there. So he does that.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, Horrors, they just put out a new record that's killer. And
Yeah.
oh, have you, speaking of Horrors, so Casey Maxwell, the bass player for Horrors, he used to also be in one of the baddest bands to ever hit the Southeast, and they were called the Letters Organize. If you were into like At the Drive-In or that kind of vibe, just that super
Yeah, yeah.
chaotic, man, the Letters Organize, there was not a better live band in the Southeast for a solid 10 years. Those guys were killer. But Casey was
I'll
the
check it
guitar
out.
player for them, and now he's the bass player for Horde. So, um, yeah,
Yeah,
man, just
I
so much talent here.
I got the first two horrors albums on vinyl, and I got a 7 inch as well. Very good shit, man.
Yeah, man.
But
I love. I mean, honestly, that noise rock is right up my alley. You know, I mean, we the same, like the same music. We love the same music. I mean, I'm not like super tight with those guys, but I go to see them every chance I get because they're just a wonderful band live for sure.
do you remember the local? There's some hardcore bands from that area back in the day. Back in probably I'm gonna say probably early to mid 2000. There was the crime scene.
Uh-uh.
You remember those dudes? There was
No,
about like fucking. It was like they were like the. I said they were like the Wu Tang of hardcore because they had like three different singers. They had like all these fucking dudes on stage, but they're from down that way. And then my homie, they had a band called. There's another band called Of Legend. You remember them?
that name sounds very familiar.
Yeah, they're from. They were from around the way. They dropped out. They dropped two records, and then I don't know what happened with that. We've Taken Under used to play with them often in Nashville. They're really chill guys, man.
Were
And
you
then
a
of course the
Foundation
lead
fan?
thing. Oh fuck yeah, dude! I got dude found and now Foundation is playing a fest somewhere this year, and they're
Yeah.
headlining. But they were dope as fuck, dude. I remember when they played Nashville when they were coming up, you know. And then you had
So Champ,
Hunter from
their
uh-huh.
drummer, his name's Champ, and Champ is from down around where we are. I saw one of his first shows ever. He played. Uh, I can't remember the name of the band, but he was playing with. They were playing some a bunch of really cool. They played some Deftones songs. They played uh, some punk rock songs, and I remember the first time I saw Champ, I literally pulled him to the side after the show and told him that he was one of my favorite drummers I'd ever seen in my life. That kid was amazing, and at that time he was probably only 15 or 16. It was so crazy, and then he went to Atlanta and it ended up being like king of Atlanta as a hardcore drummer, and he has an
Yeah,
awesome now
dude.
he's got his own store now called Guilty
Really?
Party. Yeah, it's called Guilty Party. He sells like boutique like jeans, and like he's really big into fashion and like stuff like that. He
Okay.
worked at Abba for a while, selling like really nice shoes and stuff like that. And then but anyway, fast forward, he's got his own store called Guilty Party. I haven't been there yet, but it looks super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a Foundation 7, or it's not even it's a CD, and it came in a manila envelope, and it has like a fucking pull out fucking copy machine poster as you pull out unfolds in this big ass fucking Foundation poster. Um
Nice.
but they were huge they were huge in the
Yeah.
hardcore world, you know. They
Yeah,
were
man.
I hate to use the word, but you know, they were what people used to always call the hype band, you know, but they
Oh, for
fucking
sure.
brought it every fucking, you know. Um
Yeah, man. I got a chance to see
uh
their live show in Atlanta. When they broke up, they played the Masquerade, and
oh, nice.
man, it was just pandemonium. That was one of the craziest shows I've ever been to in my life, and it was sold the fuck out. And it was really awesome to see that cool little kid from Zebulon, up on stage just destroying. It was awesome. Champ's awesome. He's a great
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, man. And well,
Uh I
you guys got
never
one
I
you guys got one of our super talents up in Nashville now. You guys
oh,
got Tuck Smith up there now.
dude, so I have never heard of this dude until like months back, and I don't know why I have not heard about this dude, but this dude fucking rocks, man.
Yeah.
Like
So
where
so
like what
he
the fuck?
yeah, man. Funny. He and I got he's from Griffin. He's from the same city as me. He was in a punk rock band called the Betrayal, and actually I booked his very first studio session for him with my buddy Blake Long, and took him over to actually was it Blake? I think it was Blake, and then I got him in with Joel. No, it was Joel. My cousin from Miller's Tale had a
Okay.
studio, and I booked Tuck to his band to go and record over at Joel's house. Um, did that anyway. Fast forward, he ended up starting a band called the Heart Attacks, and they
Okay.
got big as shit. They got signed to Lars Fredrikson's record label, um,
Okay.
and they were going. They would go to
Hellcat?
Warp Tour. What's that?
Was it Hellcat Records?
No, no, it was. It wasn't. It wait. It was Hellcat, but Lars Fredriksson produced their record. I think is how
Gotcha.
it went, if
Gotcha.
I'm not
Okay.
mistaken. Maybe don't hold me to that, but it was something like that. But yeah, they got uh, they were following around Warp Tour trying to get them to let them play, and they wouldn't let them play, so they were out in the parking lot. And they would set up a table, and they were selling shots of Jack Daniels to get gas money to go, and ended up meeting Tim Armstrong and Lars, and then ended up getting signed. They put out a record that Joan Jett was on with them. Um,
Wow.
did a bunch of shit with that. Then ended up he played in a bunch of other. Did you ever hear of a hardcore band called Instilled?
Yo, fuck yeah.
Okay, well he was in
We play with them.
Instilled. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, yeah. He started Instilled. Yeah, he was.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he was the original singer for Instilled. So he did that, and then ended up he formed a bunch of bands, but ended up the Biters ended up being his big band. And they toured with like Social Distortion, like doing all kinds of crazy shit. They ended up getting signed to um Roadrunner Records, I believe.
Wow.
And then whatever something happened with that, and it fell apart. And then he started doing stuff on his own. But yeah, now it's Tuck Smith and the Restless Hearts, and they're
Well,
badass, man. Yeah, good
yeah,
stuff.
it has like it has like an 80s vibe from to me a little bit.
Yeah,
I saw LA Guns is either have already came or are coming, and he's
uh-huh,
opening that show up.
for
Um,
sure. I believe it.
which
Yeah, I mean, he's real big into like T Rex and Bowie. He's real big into that scene. Cheap Trick, like that's
yeah,
all. Like he is all about 70s rock, and he's
yeah.
killing it. He's
Oh yeah.
he's putting out some great stuff.
I just saw that he got taking pre-orders for his record, and then I saw where he's playing is it France or the UK
Yep.
coming up here soon? He got a tour
Yeah, yeah.
coming out. Like,
He's
and
got a tour coming up in the UK. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's
he's
cool
on my
stuff.
radar now. I'm following everything he does. It's good shit. Now that I know, now it's really crazy to see all the shit you just told me he has fucking done. I'm like, get the fuck Instilled, because we played with Instilled at Rocket Town in Nashville. Taken Under did with
Nice.
Depression from Atlanta, and Depression from Atlanta was the lead singer from Love Is Red's band when he was living down
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that. I
Yeah,
remember Love Is Red. I don't remember Depression, but I do
yeah.
remember Love Is Red. I probably still
Depression
got the
was really
cassette
good.
here. They had I
Probably,
remember we played a show with them, and they had a sticker that looked like a Coca-Cola logo. It was Love
probably.
Is Red, but I saw them.
Yeah.
There used to be a pretty badass venue down here, the C10 warehouse, I believe, and I saw them play with Grade, and
Yep. Great. Still good.
yeah, man, are they still playing?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
But they were Canadian, right? Yeah, they're
yeah, yeah,
Canadian.
yeah, yeah, man. They had some good
Um,
records for sure.
it's
Good
crazy,
stuff.
at our age and what we've done or seen or whatever. We've been through a lot of different styles of music that, through our years,
Yeah,
and I think it's cool though, because that means we just have such an eclectic taste in music, because I think you're like I am. You like a lot of fucking shit, no matter if it's fucking death metal
yeah,
down to fucking bluegrass to fucking
yeah, man. A good
R&B to
song is a
fucking
good
everything,
song.
man.
Yeah, a good song is
Like,
a good song. I don't care what genre it is.
mm,
I mean, I don't.
no.
I'm not going to say there's a lot of music that I don't just run out and play all the time or whatever. But yeah, a good song is a good song, man.
Oh
And if it
yeah, man.
rocks, I just don't care. I like it. So yeah, I'm all about it. Yeah, man, for sure.
Um, what was the last concert you went to?
Oh,
I think
let's
I know this.
see. Let's see. I've been to a wait, which one was the last one? I think the last one I went to was Hot Water Music and Quicksand. That was
Okay, so
a couple of weeks ago. And another kind of cool story, my buddy Randy King, he started building guitars, King Electric Guitars, and he built a guitar for Chuck Reagan and took it to him
nice.
at the show that night. And Chuck's been playing it on tour this whole last tour. It's pretty cool.
Well, I slept on Hot Water for a long time, and the only reason why I started listening to them here now is because they did a split with Terror, where Terror
Oh,
covered a Hot Water Music song, and Hot Water Music covered a Terror song, and
really?
yeah, and I now I'm like, why the fuck did I sleep on Hot Water Music? Because they are fucking amazing.
They really are,
I
man.
did it to a lot of bands.
Yeah, they. I'll tell you, there was a point in time where, uh, like down this way, we listened to Hot Water Music like it was religion. When they came through, we went, and um, there's a they put out a couple of live records that I highly suggest. I mean, they're in on the kill or fuel for the hate game is such a great record. I mean, caution is great. Like I could go down the list. But yeah, man, like their music for quite some time really really helped mold like a lot of the scene down here for quite some time. It was they're a wonderful band, and they're super
Yeah.
nice guys. They're just great dudes. Yeah.
Um, I know they're not. I mean, they're not technically they're not that far from you because they're from Florida, right?
Yeah, I think they're originally from Gainesville, but like Chuck, I
Yeah.
think he lives out in Oregon now.
Oh yeah.
They kind of live all over, but yeah, I think their home base is Gainesville,
His
Gainesville,
solo
Florida.
stuff is so good though. You know,
What's that?
uh, I said his solo stuff is really good.
Yeah, yeah,
And
man. He's got a song called "The Boat" that's one of my favorite songs ever.
really
Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
pretty cool. Um,
yeah, man.
what's your next concert you going to?
Um, let's see. I think I'm gonna go to two are on my radar right now. I'm gonna go see Amin Ra. They're playing at Variety Playhouse, and then I'm gonna go see the Jesus Lizard at the Variety Playhouse.
Fuck
Um,
yeah, dude.
but Amin Ra don't come over here very often, so I am really excited. So Will Fiore is a great friend of mine, and he works with me at my print shop, and he's like, did you ever hear the band Zoroaster?
Mm-mm.
They were
How do you spell that?
massive. Zoroaster, I think Zoroaster. Don't kill me, Will, if I spelled that wrong.
Sorry, I'll
But
find it.
yeah, you'll find it. But they were one of the biggest bands in Atlanta for a long time. And hands down the loudest band in Atlanta for sure. But Brent plays. He's got a band that he's been in for a while called Order of the Owl. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
anyway,
yeah, 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 yeah.
okay. So if you dig Order of the Owl, that's where they came from, Zoroaster.
Okay,
But
okay.
they used to tour. They were signed, did all the things. But Will turns me on to a lot of awesome music, and he turned me on to Amin Ra a little over a year ago, and I listen to them all the time now. They're awesome, but yeah, they're coming. So that I think that that's going to be my next show. That's on September 21st. So
Yeah,
I'm going to see that. Yeah, but
I'm thinking.
did you get a
I'm gonna
chance to go see
think.
Botch?
No, I mean I think the closest they came, my buddy did though. He went to Chicago and saw them, and he said it fucking was just insane.
Man,
I
they were
haven't never
so
seen them live ever.
Oh, they were so good in Atlanta. Yeah, that was like
When
that
was
was one of
that?
my. They played. I guess it's about 3 months ago.
Oh,
On that reunion tour, maybe 4 months ago now.
yeah.
But yeah, they're one of my go-to bands. Um, we Are the Romans is one of the best records I've ever heard in my life, and I just love that. So yeah, We Are the Romans.
I
But
think
yeah,
I'm gonna try and go
um,
see the Pumpkins. The Pumpkins are coming
yeah, with Green
in
Day.
2 weeks. No, fuck, next weekend. It's Pumpkins,
Yeah,
Green Day, Rancid. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
I've
I'm
been thinking
gonna.
about they're coming on the 28th. I thought about going. I'm not sure if I'm going to go yet or not. I mean, just that's a great bill, and that's a great bill. I want to say they're coming on the 28th here. So I'm not sure. I'm on the fence about that one. I may go to that one. We may have to talk about that one. We may go to that one
Yeah,
too.
I'm gonna
Um,
get. I'm gonna get my tickets the day of if I go. I'm just gonna wait. I like to wait nowadays and just fucking StubHub it because someone's gonna sell a ticket for cheap, and those tickets
Wait a
ain't
minute.
ain't
I'm
they.
lying. I'm lying. My last show was not was not hot water and quicksand. The last show I went to was a good friend of mine plays bass for Yellow Card, and so I saw Yellow Card and Third Eye Blind. So
That'd be
yeah,
cool.
that was
I want
that
to
was the
see.
last show.
Third Eye Blind's good, man. Shit.
Yeah, man, they got
Who would
some
have,
hits. Yeah, they got
dude?
hits.
All about drugs on the radio, and nobody knew it. Fucking
Yeah,
taking a
yeah,
bump. Fucking.
yeah. It was a that
But
was that was a fun show, man.
Yellow
We
Card's
watched
good.
yeah, we watched Yellow Card. They killed it. And did their thing. Ocean Avenue it up, baby. And then we watched Third Eye Blind, and it was fun. Yeah, it was a good show. A lot of good hits for sure. They
when
said
I
it
was digging,
oddly
when I
enough.
was Go ahead.
Oddly enough, they said that this tour was the
Mhm.
biggest tour they've ever done, which I thought was
Wow.
wild.
Third Eye
I went
Blind.
and saw. Yeah, yeah. They said it was the biggest tour that they, and I was like, man, you guys have Grammys. Like, you guys were on the radio nonstop. How could this be?
Yeah.
But I guess just like I guess the legacy bands are all the thing to do now. So,
Yep. Yep.
but yeah, they were killing it on the road. It was pretty cool. Yeah, good for
Um.
them.
When I was digging back and looking, I was looking just to get some shit to find all your bands because I forgot them all. I saw last year Pearl Bond Radio played with Everclear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We played the Fayetteville Amphitheater with Everclear last year, and a couple of years prior to that, we played with Mother's Finest, and then at the same venue,
Nice.
and then about 2 months ago, we played at the same amphitheater with this up and coming dude named Corey Smith. I don't really know too much about him, to be
Yeah.
honest. But it was a fun show nonetheless. Yeah, yeah, it was a good time.
Well,
PBR gets, and that's one of the other things. Like, PBR is so commercially viable that it's fun and cool to be able to get on big stages like that and have the opportunity to play in front of a bunch of people, every once in a while. So it's pretty fun to do that for sure.
what's crazy is like between the two of us and how long we've been playing music, we never played together.
I know, right? We've talked about it. Well, I'll tell you, man, Curse Dealer will have a lot of opportunity for sure because
Well,
we intend on doing it. But are you playing with anybody?
no, man, I kind of gave it up for a little bit, not forever, but
Sure.
I'll talk. I'll let you know when we get done with this. I'll talk to you about that. But
Yeah, yeah.
taking under, we did our thing for a good while. We dropped our last record, Harbinger,
Hmm.
and did you do the Harbinger shirts for us with the bird on the
I did.
back?
I did. Yeah.
Okay,
Hmm.
that was our last album, and then we just that was that. Kind of this decided we didn't want to beat a dead horse no more, and just it's better to move on while where we were at. Um, and Mark, the singer and the drummer Jason started a new band called Neo Vatra, which I think you would really enjoy. And I actually want to talk to you later too about swapping out some shows with those dudes because they want to get down your way, and we wouldn't mind bringing you guys up this way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. Well, we're
uh,
down.
but no, man. But I mean, I'm gonna see you play one of these days.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
it's gonna happen. Well, we Be at the Means, when Josh was doing Be at the Means, they were touring all the time, and they've got a lot of Josh has got a lot of connections, and since we announced him being in the band, a lot of people have started reaching out. Really, because he hasn't played a show. This past show was the first show he's played in 4 years, so
gotcha.
um, so everybody was just kind of like, you know, wow, he's alive, like, because he doesn't get on social media, like that's not his thing. He doesn't. He barely answers text messages. Um, but he just honestly, the only thing that dude does is play guitar and write songs. That's what he does, and
Hell yeah.
so he's got an arsenal of stuff that he's bringing to the table for us. But yeah, the plan is to, like I said, just to get in the studio, record a few songs, see which one we like the best, shoot a video, release a single, and immediately hit the road. So
Hell yeah.
so we will be up there pretty soon, and definitely reaching out to you because you're our Clarksville guy. So um,
Yeah, man.
you definitely want to come up and come through there.
Um, what do you currently listen to right now?
Oh man,
Like, what's the? Yeah, go ahead.
that's a good question. What have I been listening to lately? So there's this band that is actually going on tour with Horrors right now, on their next tour that I've been listening to. They're called Nerver, Nerver. They did a
Okay.
they got a cool split with Chat Pile. If you're into them, that'd be a good place to start with that band. Nerver, yeah, Nerver. Um,
Okay.
I've been listening to that. Um, the new High on Fire, man, it's so good. Um, the new Horrors record's great. I'm into a band uh, called I Flies that put out a new record a couple months ago. That's just a killer record. Um, I my go to is
There you go.
conveniently is Dead Register. That's
Okay.
that's my go to. Like, I guess when Spotify does that thing of what records you or what songs you listen to the most
Uh huh.
at the end of the year, for the last three
Yeah.
years, it's always Dead Register. I mean, their shit is heavy and it suits my mood. And aside from the fact that he's one of my best friends, it's just they're they're just so talented. I just can't stop listening to them.
That's good though.
Yeah, man. And equally as well, my wife loves them. and my wife doesn't like most of the music that I like. You know what I mean? So, her favorite band's Def Leppard. So
Okay.
so when I put on Botch, she's like, "What the fuck is this?" You know what I mean? Um, that um,
Okay.
I have been going back to, like, I've been pulling out some older stuff. Peg Boy, Strong Reaction is
Oh
just
yeah.
such an amazing record. Um, what else? If you're into like Nirvana type stuff, Pretty Please is a band from Atlanta that does
Hmm.
some really cool shit. Um, I got a band right up your alley. Did you ever get into a band? They're from Atlanta called Drop Sonic.
Uh-uh.
No? Well, check
No.
out Drop Sonic, but then
Okay.
surely you've heard of the coat hangers, right?
Sounds familiar.
Right on. Well,
Coat.
the coat hangers are a pretty big indie band from Atlanta, but the drummer from the coat hangers and the singer and guitar player from Drop Sonic put out a band called Narcissist, and that record is great, like
All right, I'll
capital
check that out.
GREAT, great. Narcissist. It's spelled weird. Let me pull it up um you know how to spell it to find it. It's NRCSSST.
One of those spellings.
Yeah, yeah. But the record that you'll say, they only got one record up. But that record is just a monster. I you know Aside from that, to be honest, I listen to a lot of rap. That's like
Yeah.
like it's my wife thinks it's pretty funny too that I listen to as much rap as I do, but Pusha T is always my favorite, and Killer Mike is great. Run the Jewels are
Oh
great.
yeah. Yeah.
Obviously,
Yeah. Yeah.
all the things. Obviously, Kendrick, Benny the Butcher's a monster.
Yeah.
Um, Freddie Gibbs is one of my favorites. I listen to him all the time. Anything The Alchemist is on, I'm
Oh,
into.
for sure. For sure.
Um, uh,
The stuff
um,
that he's done is pretty fucking dope to see all the people he's
yeah,
worked with, you
man,
know.
and all I think. I think I'm always into Ghostface. Anything he puts out, I'm all in. I always go back to MF Doom. Um, um,
The
but
classics.
yeah, man, classic stuff. But like, you know, Fridays when everybody releases their stuff, I honestly, man, I go into rap, and then I go into the bars playlist, and whatever's new on the bars playlist is always
Yeah.
right up my alley. JID or
Gotcha.
JID, whatever is sick. Childish Gambino obviously is incredible. Tyler the
He
Creator. I mean,
retired, man. He's retired. He retired. Childish Gambino.
yeah, but he just put out that new record.
Yeah.
So,
So who
it's his
knows?
final record as Childish Gambino,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
it's good. It's not the fire. I'm into the rah rah shit. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like aggressive rap. So, uh, but
I mean, you're from
but
ATL. You're from the ATL area, man. That's where all that,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, man. I'm into it, right? So,
um,
but yeah,
check
man.
out,
Yeah, tell me what are you into these days?
check out. Well, no, for Nashville, check out 6-1 Tribe. It's the
Six.
number six, number one
Okay.
Tribe.
One.
They're kind of like, yeah. My homeboy is one of the dudes inside that band, but they range from like the ages of 20 to fucking 44. You know, it's like a big range of group of ages, and they all
Okay.
different styles, but it's kind of like the Wu Tang of Nashville, um, where the mayor of Nashville uh, said 615. You know, June 15th is now 6-1 Tribe Day in Nashville. But
Nice.
check them out. Check them out, man.
Okay.
They got a fuck ton of music out. They came together around the pandemic time. I really
Gotcha.
fuck with it. Um,
Nice.
for me,
Nice.
man,
Nice.
um, there's really nothing that I've really has grabbed me by the balls and be like, yeah, there's some good shit. So I'm always going back like hot water music. That's something new I just found. So I've been fucking with that,
Yeah.
you know, because that's new music to me. You know, it's new music. But
Yeah.
my go-to is always
Um,
the 80s, man, the hair metal days. That's my go back to. Um, and my number one artist for the last fucking 4 years has been Yellow Wolf.
really,
So, yeah,
he does. He
I
puts out
fuck
a
with.
lot
I've
of
been
good,
fucking with you.
puts out a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
Also, Torch. I listen to
Fuck yeah,
Torch.
dude.
I listen to Torch religiously. Like
I love them, dude. They're good.
Will and I listened to them all day today while we were printing. Oh, fun. So Will and I always do this too, and he came up with a pretty good question for me. He says today. He said, so if you could pick one song that you could go on stage and play with Metallica, which song would it be?
Ooh. For me, it's gonna be my favorite Metallica song, and that is
Which
"Welcome
is
Home Sanitarium." Welcome Home
yeah.
Sanitarium. Yeah,
Okay.
that's my favorite
Okay.
Metallica jam.
Yeah,
What
I'm
about you?
still on the fence. I don't have one today. I thought that maybe it would be For Whom the Bell Tolls, um, but then he was like, wait, that song is only like 4 minutes, you know. But to me, I was like, well, but it's a banger, and it
Oh
ain't that
fuck yeah!
difficult to play. So so I could actually rock out because it's not that difficult to play.
Yeah.
You know, but
Damn, that's a good question.
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna, you
Um,
know what? I'm still in that question for my
do
podcast now.
yeah,
I'm gonna start asking
It's
that question.
do it, man. It's a good one. Yeah, it's. I mean, and then you know we're printing shirts all day, so we get bored and just start talking shit like that. And I was like, but if it was ACDC, it'd be If You Want
Okay.
Blood. So yeah, I'm
If
all
you
in it.
want
That
blood.
ACDC is my favorite band of all time. So.
All right, let me ask you this question then. What is your favorite Metallica song?
Um, man, I was trying to think of that today too, right?
Uh,
And like I feel I feel real heavy.
I mean, Blackened is another one that's just a fucking
Yeah,
banger.
it's kind of going to be a toss up for me, probably between Blackened and Battery. I love
They're kind of
for
the
whatever
same
reason.
they're kind of the same, you know. They're kind of the
Yeah,
same, you know. It's like,
yeah. I mean, they're hand in hand, but I mean, there's that's a strong question. You know what I mean? There's so many
mhm.
good ones, and for me personally, like music is there's such an emotional attachment to the time you were when you heard it, what you were going
Yep,
through in your life when all that was happening, and all
exactly,
the things.
exactly.
So whether it's their best song or whatever, but that's the one. Those are really the two that jump out to me. Sanitarium's obviously great. Master of the Puppets is
Hmm.
great. For Whom the Bell Tolls, Orion is so good.
So
Even though there's
let me
no
ask you
lyric.
this question:
Yeah.
do you remember this girl we went to middle school with? Her name was Monica Cantu.
Mm.
When
Yes, she
she,
wore the she wore the Metallica jacket,
yes, that was yes, yes. So
dude.
she used to.
Is she around?
I don't know. I don't know. I try to look everybody up. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, I didn't know her
she
last
fucking
name,
loved.
so I didn't know.
Yeah, but she
Man,
loved Dyer's Eve. Dear mother, dear father. That was her
yeah,
jam.
Dude, I
And
remember she had
but
the
yeah,
Damage Incorporated back patch on her
yep,
jean jacket, man.
yep,
Yeah.
yeah. She
I
was,
didn't know her last
yeah.
name.
But think
I
about
dated
this
her
though,
for like 3 days.
dude. That was a long time back in that was a long time in middle
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
You know,
What
if
was
you
that
went
other girl
if
that
you went
me
a
and you
week,
both dated? You remember that? What was that girl's name that me and you both dated? The one with the long
Tina,
curly hair.
was it
What was it?
Tina? Was it
She had
Tina?
long curly hair, long brown curly hair.
Oh, Tammy. Let me
Tammy.
tell you something. Let me tell you something. And she was
Tell
tall.
me.
But let me tell you something. I went to California after I left
Okay.
Germany. I went back to California where I came from. We went to high school together in California.
Really?
Yeah, we were in the same we were in 10th grade together out there. And I hung out with her a couple different times, but you know, she when she moved out there, she got her little clique, and I had my little clique, and we were just two different people. But it's weird. I was like, holy fuck, I know this girl, and it was her. I looked her up in
Wild.
the phone book. I looked up her phone book,
Nice.
and I called the number, and I say, is Tammy there? And then we talked for like an hour on the payphone and shit.
That's cool, man. Such
That's
a
so
small
fucking
world.
gnarly, dude.
That's
Nah, it's just the
hilarious.
military.
Yeah,
All right, let me ask you a
military.
couple questions then, real quick. See if you remember some things from back in high school or middle school days. Do you
Yeah.
remember when we all got in trouble and we all couldn't make the field day or whatever, and they kept us all in that classroom with that old teacher, that little old lady, Miss Regna, and we fucking
Miss
tortured the
Widner.
hell out of that. Yeah, she would
Yeah,
cough up blood and shit.
dude,
I
that
re-
was crazy. What did we get in trouble for? I don't remember how we got in trouble.
I think there was a whole class of like the ones that always got in trouble, but you never really got in trouble as much as like I did. Um,
Yeah.
but you were in there with us, but we were all in this one, but we were raising hell in that class, and that like it was I don't know, but I remember she had like gotten her she got like I got they had to pull her out of the classroom and take her away, and it was fucking weird. But
I
she was
do
like this
remember
little
that.
old bony woman. Yeah,
Dude, yeah. Yeah, you were a
we
mouthy
were
little
hellions.
cuss back then.
I was. See? Yeah. But I still am. But but do you remember our homeroom teacher in 8th grade, Mr. Cohn?
Vaguely.
He
Vaguely.
was from Florida. He was from Florida, and I don't know if it was you, me, because remember there was not a lot of dudes that would listen to fucking heavy metal like we did.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah.
he used to talk about how he used to go to this bar in Florida and hang out with Lita Ford and shit. And as a kid, you just believed him because you're like, oh yeah, fucking cool. And he would be like,
Yeah.
because he was our history teacher. He was also our history teacher, a tall fucking dude. But I remember
Yeah.
that because like we had like somebody had like a folder or something and it said like Lita Ford. He was like, yeah, I used to fucking go to a club and hang out with her and stuff. And we were kids, so we thought he was cool as shit. But
Dude,
yeah,
I
man,
do
those were
remember. I remember. Do you remember the? I don't remember his name, but he was the photography teacher, and he looked like Colonel Sanders. Do you remember that dude?
what was his
I don't remember.
name?
I don't remember his name, but
I yeah.
he literally looked like Colonel Sanders, and I remember him being the creepiest dude. And I remember some like he had no problems cussing like in class, like he gave
Yeah.
two fucks, and he used to say some really off the wall like dirty shit in that class, and
Yeah.
I was like, you can't talk to kids like that. And he was like, I don't care about y'all. Y'all are going to be back in the States in a week. I don't care. you
I
know, um,
remember I remember one of our substitute teachers, she was fine as fuck. And there's a picture of you guys together actually. That picture I always send you of you from middle school with your jean jacket on and your fucking bowl cut. It wasn't really a bowl cut, but you had your little long
yeah,
hair. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
that her name was Miss Rules.
God, I
She was
don't
a light
remember,
skinned.
man.
She was dude, she was fine. We'd always be excited to get her as a sub. But
Man, if you find that picture
it,
again, you send that to me.
I got to
Because
find
I
my
didn't like,
yearbook. I have a yearbook somewhere.
yeah, I never got a yearbook from there, which is so weird.
No,
Um, yeah, I don't know why I didn't. But uh, was I playing? Was that ninth or 10th grade? Wait,
I
no,
only went to school with you for. I only went to school with you seventh, eighth grade.
that's right. So you went to school with me seventh and eighth grade, and then ninth
And then
grade.
I went to Patch Barracks. And you went to Pattonville.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Um,
That's right. Oh, Pattonville.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Yep. Yep.
actually when I went to Pattonville, I met this guy there, and he spoke fluent German, and he hit me up one day, and he was like, you like heavy metal music, right?" And I was like, "Come on, man, yeah." And he was like, "Well, look, I work at the Schleierhalle, like the big arena in Stuttgart." And I was like, "Okay."
Okay.
He's like, "Yeah, I do security there." And I was like, "What? You're in high school?" He was like, "Yeah, but they need somebody that can speak English and German." So they let me do it, and I make money. And I was like, "Okay, that's cool." He goes, "What are you doing tonight?" And I was like, "All right." He's like, "You want to come see ACDC?"
What?
Yeah. And so this is pre cell phone, right? So he's like, "Look,"
Yeah.
he's like, "Look, go to the Schleierhalle, go around back where all the buses are, meet me at gate whatever at 7 o'clock, and I got you." Dude, I showed up, and that dude walked me straight through, all the way through the backstage, all the way up into that place, up front and center. And I got to watch King's X and ACDC on the Thunderstruck tour, raging for free. That shit was so rad.
What,
I had a
where you
great.
see that in Stuttgart?
What's that?
Oh, so I went in Stuttgart. I only think I still got the ticket too. Uh I saw David Lee Roth in Stuttgart
Nice,
and in Ludwigsburg down the street from Valdez, I saw Living Color.
bro. Okay.
And those are my
Well,
so that
so I
was
got to
91.
so at one point, do you remember a place in downtown Stuttgart called Rock Fabrique?
Yep.
Okay.
Did you
Well, one day, me and my buddies were just hanging out in Stuttgart, had no idea, and we just happened to go to Rock Fabric and pay 5 marks to get in, right? Pay 5 marks to get in, walk in. Faith No More is getting off stage. They just played their last song. I watched the last song that they played from the real thing for five marks.
uh, dude.
Yeah. But dude, I got to go. I also got to go to the original Clash of the Titans tour there with Slayer
And
on the Seasons in the Abyss, Megadeth on the Rust in Peace, um, uh, uh, Testament on the Souls of Black tour, and Suicidal on the Lights Camera Revolution. That
now
was
see, that's
that was the holy
insane.
grail. That was the holy grail.
Now that when that tour hit the states, they swapped out Suicidal for Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I got lucky when I moved to California, and I got to work at a radio station. So I got hooked up with like a bunch of cool fucking shows. I got to see Caius and White
What?
Zombie. I got to see Danzig. I got to see Soundgarden for Bad Motorfinger when it just came out. I
Wow.
saw Alice in Chains. I saw Damn Yankees with that and Bad for Good. You remember that band Bad for Good?
Yeah, that
With
that band Bad for Good had Brooks Wackerman was playing drums for
yep,
Bad for Good.
who's played with every fucking buddy, you know.
Yep.
I got to fucking I saw Sonic Youth and Screaming Trees. Man, and
Nice.
all from that radio station. That radio station I got hooked up, man, with all these free fucking tickets all the time, man.
That's
And then
awesome.
I got to play softball. I got to play softball with Great White and Asphalt Ballet, and then go watch the show later on that evening,
How
which is gnarly. I had to,
random. How
yep.
random is that?
And then I remember getting the fax in on the fax machine that said that Metallica had to pause their tour, not pause their tour, but had James got burned. That's when James had got
Yeah.
burned. And then they were
Yeah.
the dude from Metal Church that's filling in. They had put that on the fax machine. Everyone's all getting it. And they're like, "This just in." Da, 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 da. So when I saw Metallica,
Wow.
um, I saw them with the regular Metallica, and then I saw them again like the same year with him on guitar, which was pretty cool. But
That's
what's
crazy as
somebody that
shit.
you saw that you wish you? What's somebody that you got to see that you're stoked you got to see?
Show wise or
Yeah, like the biggest. Like what's like for me, mine would like I got to see Prince twice, so that's like the biggest show that I'll ever see in my life, you know. But like,
same.
who's somebody
Same.
that who like you? Who are you? You saw
Yeah.
him too?
So I got
Fuck
to
yeah!
definitely 100% the best show I've ever seen in my life.
Fuck yeah, dude!
So he did what was the name of the record with the globe on it?
The musicology
Um
one. Oh, the
maybe.
Globe. The no, that was just recently, right? Did you see him before he
No, no, no,
passed?
no. This was 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Um it was anyway. So
Yeah.
he was I want to say it was right after all that the artist formerly known as stuff. Well, he did a tour where he was only playing like 20 shows. They were all going to be in small venues. Um, and he was donating all of the proceeds to build a college. Um, and he played a place in Atlanta.
Crystal
At the
ball.
time, it was called Atlanta Live, and it was
Okay.
only an 800 seat person general admission.
Yeah.
And it was, and I paid. I think it was like $100 for a ticket, and that was the most I had ever spent on a ticket at that time. And Vinny and I went, um, and and I don't know, I was like 20 feet from him because we went in and just bolted right up front. It was like 20 feet from him, standing room only, and he played for 2 hours and just destroyed that place. And I remember walking out the door after the show and stopped, and I literally looked at Vin and said, I would pay $200 to go right back in and watch the exact same show verbatim. It was so
Yeah, dude.
amazing. Yeah, that's the best show I've ever been to in my life,
Well,
hands down.
you beat you got me beat because I didn't see him in a small venue. I saw him twice, one at in an auditorium and one in an arena. But
Yeah,
I saw him. I mean, like you said, the money was not a problem, and
yeah.
I would do it again. You know,
I think I've
but
still
yeah,
got that.
definitely.
I want to say here. Okay, if I can find it, I think I still have that tour poster, and if I do, I'll send it to you.
Okay,
It's
I'm
cool as
gonna see
shit.
that. But
But
yeah,
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
not a lot of people can say they saw him, man. Not a lot of people can
I
say they've
know,
seen the
right?
man.
And
You know.
yeah, and they hadn't. And the show that we saw, they announced it a week prior, and this is back when Turtles was still a thing, and we had sent somebody down to Turtles to get in the lottery
Yep. Yep.
for a chance to get a ticket, and we happened to get one, and they bought 4 tickets, and I got one of them.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That
Yeah,
or when you had to stand in line for Ticketmaster tickets, you had to stand in line to get your tickets. You camped the
dude,
night before and shit.
crazy. Yeah, crazy, crazy. We used to do some crazy shit for tickets, boy. Um,
Oh man.
I stood in
Well, I
line
want to
for
show you
tickets.
this.
Yeah,
Go
what you
ahead. Go
got?
ahead. I
Um,
got
uh,
this.
oh
You know
oh,
what?
yeah, if she only
I got
knew. What's your favorite song off of
and
that record?
I haven't heard it in years,
Yeah,
but
dude,
um,
that's awesome.
I don't.
So
For
the
some
first one,
reason,
the long hard years, my favorite song off of that one's 3 foot 4. That's always going to be
okay.
the killer on that one. But my favorite song on If She Only Knew, which is probably one of my favorite songs I've ever been a part of, is God, I just had a brain fart. We not sleeping, feel the deeper as it comes. Grand Prize. Grand Prize is my favorite, probably one of the most, uh, probably one of the highlights of my life as far as writing songs go. My brother just knocked it out of the park on the bass line and on the vocals. His lyrics were perfect. Vin's drums were amazing. Vin's backup vocals were great. Um, and we were all going through some shit when that record came out. And yeah, Grand Prize, that would be probably chalked up to be probably the best song that I've ever been involved in, I think. So yeah,
Oh
check it
yeah.
out.
Well,
Yeah, man.
well, sir. We've been talking for a little over 2 hours.
Right on.
It's I mean, we've talked about a lot of shit. Starting bands, going to school and shit, music.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot of history and
What's
we ain't caught up in quite some time. We might need to do a part
Nah,
two.
I mean I about to say we'll do a part two too.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people that I got to do part twos with. It's just fun too. Like I said, we got a lot that we can talk about. We could talk about a lot more shit.
for
But
sure.
I'm trying not to Joe I'm trying not to Joe Rogan on my podcast these days and making them like 4 hours because the last few podcasts I put out have been like three and some change.
Oh,
But
yeah?
when yeah, but especially when I do them in person, like everybody I'm doing my podcast with, it's people I know, so we can talk about whatever for whatever,
Yeah,
however long. And the more that I get comfortable with it, the more I'm gonna fucking start bullshitting with people. I bullshit more.
for
Um,
sure.
but what's one of Chad's guilty pleasures? It could be anything,
Oh,
whether
man.
music, whatever.
Um, man. Guilty pleasure. Let's see.
Or what's something about you that nobody knows?
Huh. Yeah, I'm pretty much an open book, man. There ain't much that
Yeah,
people don't know about me. I
that's
mean,
that's a good answer.
being being the guy that I am and the promoter and marketing guy and you know, I always took the Gene Simmons approach. I'm gonna be up front making the dumb, ugly face to make sure people look at me and hear me first. And but without as without being a dick. you know. Um, I don't know, man. Let's see. Guilty pleasure. Um, shit. What is your guilty pleasure?
And I always say this, I really don't have one because like you said, I'm kind of like I'm open.
Yeah.
I don't hide anything.
Yeah.
Somebody the other day said, "Oh, would cooking be one?" I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a guilty pleasure, because not everybody likes to fucking cook.
Yeah. Um,
I mean, or like what's something that you listen to that nobody would know? Like, oh, you listen to that? Like, I used to always say I listen to Justin Timberlake, but I don't care
dude.
that I don't say that's a
Yeah.
guilty pleasure.
Come on,
I fuck
man.
with Justin
JT.
Timberlake.
Come on, man. JT.
He's
Come
a
on, man.
he's a MJ of our time.
Yeah, for sure.
You
Let's see. Guilty pleasure that than or something that no one knows about me, dude. You know,
Yeah.
I'm
You ain't. I
almost
mean,
50,
not
man.
everybody has them.
Yeah, I'm almost 50. I think 20 years ago, if
It's we're different. We were different back then. Back in the day, we didn't want. We were like, but now we're older. I don't give a fuck what you know about me.
yeah,
You know?
I just don't care, right? I don't care,
Yeah.
man. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, I love my life. I love my wife. I love my job. Private press is, turned into a great business for me. I love my bands. I love my friends. Um, I'm very fortunate to have a ton of people in my life that are just wonderful people, and uh, I've got a lot of good things happening, man. And as far as like a guilty pleasure, you know, I, dude, I love ice cream. I
um.
love cake. I love cookies. I'm a fat, fat boy on the inside. Let me tell you. No, man.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
man,
I don't, dude. I love everything about my life, man. I wouldn't trade
that's good, man.
any of it. There's a lot of things I could do better, like talking to you more than once every 4 years would be something that would be high on my list of things to accomplish.
That could be.
Um,
That could work both ways with me doing the same. You know.
yeah, I mean, I tell you what,
But
we're going to be doing it in person soon. You know,
yep.
uh, yeah, man. I don't have any guilty pleasures, man. I love
Hell yeah.
everything that I got going on, and as far as music goes, you put on a good Britney Spears song, and I probably know some of the words, and I don't give a shit. I mean, I just don't
I
care.
back in 2000, I was dating this girl, and we went and saw
Oh, wait.
Christina
That's my
Aguilera.
guilty pleasure. That's my guilty pleasure. Let me tell you.
What?
My guilty
Okay.
pleasure is I follow Britney Spears so I can watch her crazy ass dance.
I do it too. I do it too. I do
Her
it too.
Instagram is off the
Um.
chain, and that's a guilty pleasure. Like
All right. There we
I
go.
feel bad about watching because I feel bad.
You're.
Like is she okay? Is she okay? I don't know if she's
She
okay.
don't have the. She don't have the knives in her hand no more, so we're good. You
Yeah,
know, when she was doing the whole
I mean,
knives and shit.
that is a little guilty pleasure because like I remember like I was telling my wife about it and she was like, "Why are you following Britney Spears?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"She's crazy." And I feel
No.
like I'm watching. I feel like I feel guilty for watching somebody who I'm not sure is okay for entertainment.
Hey, it's like a bad
That's
car
like,
wreck. You just can't stop
oh
looking.
wait, I got another one. I got another one. I
Yeah,
got
yeah.
another one. I got another one. I
All
brought it
right,
up
what is
today.
it?
In Smoking Sigs 23. Do you know
What?
who that is?
No.
It's this chick on Instagram. Hold on, man. I'm gonna send you a link right now. Hold on. I'm gonna
All
go to
right.
my Instagram. Hold on.
What I
Hold
was
on.
saying, I in 2000 I got to see Christina Aguilera and Destiny's Child,
Okay.
and that was fucking incredible. Because that was
Dude, I'll bet.
before that was before Beyonce was Beyonce.
Nice. Okay, I'm sharing this I'm gonna share this account, share this profile with you right
Is it on the
now.
TikTok?
We're going on IG right now.
Okay.
She is on TikTok. I just found that out today. But
Smoking Six 23. Heard that. Okay. Got it.
bro,
I'll have to check it out. What the
that
fuck? What the fuck is this? All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to check this out. Hey man, I mean, all right, I'll check this out.
oh
Cornbread,
man.
well fed, hella thick. Okay, all right. Well, with that being said, Chad, where can everybody find you online?
Yeah. Oh man. You can find me at on all the socials, curse underscore dealer, on IG and on TikTok, on Instagram or on Facebook. It's just Curse Dealer or cursedealer.com. I own that too.
Okay.
Right after we started doing stuff, and I picked Curse Dealer because there wasn't another band called Curse Dealer, which is
Now
impossible
there's
to
like two.
find. And now there's two, right?
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but what do they say? You got to establish internet dominance, or and then trademark that shit. So that shit's on my
Yep.
docket. So other than that, man, my clothing line or my t-shirt company is privatepressshirts.com. I'm in Stockbridge, Georgia, just south of Atlanta, and I provide shirts for a shit ton of bands and tattoo artists and friends, and that's kind of my thing. Other than that, Pearl Bottom Radio is my other band. If you're into Southern rock and those kind of things, and on all the Spotify's and all of the iTunes and all of that shit, we're on all of that. We got a bunch of videos out, but yeah, Curse Dealer right now is kind of the flagship for direction that I'm going in. And but Pearl Bottom Radio, we do as much as we can, but those dudes got a lot going on, so shows are a little bit less. But we are about to go in the studio and record a new EP, and we should
Oh
have
yeah.
that out by November, I believe. So new Pearl Bottom Radio stuff and Curse Dealers happening at the same time. But yeah, that's where you can find me at, for sure.
All right.
And yeah, man,
All
let's
right,
catch up and do a
everybody.
part two again. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
This is fun.
Well,
It was great catching
every
up.
everyone, Chad said go watch Britney Spears videos and that smoking cigs chick because that's what
Smoking
he does on
Cigs
his spare time.
23, bro. Guilty pleasure.
uh,
Guilty as charged. Yeah. Oh, she did an episode of on soft white underbelly too.
oh wait, hold on a second. We're not going anywhere. You went and saw Tom Segura. How was that?
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah. So I went to Fully Loaded. Well, my wife and I and my drummer Tyler and his wife Sarah, we all went to
Oh, that was a fully loaded.
yeah, it was a Fully Loaded tour. It was with
Oh wow.
tons of people. Jelly Roll showed up and sang at the show, and but yeah, man, that was a blast. There's a new stadium down in Macon, Georgia, and the very first show was there for the Fully Loaded tour. So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
big comedy fan. So we went down and checked
I
that
am
out
too,
and
man.
laughed our ass off. It was great. Who's your favorite comedian right now?
I mean, right now, I mean, obviously Bert and Tom, I fucking love them too. But
Oh, my wife and I got to
um,
go see Tom a couple of months back at the Fox too. That was amazing. Yeah.
I mean, I like Tony Hinchcliffe a lot because I just like how fucking raw he is. I love that there's people that are still fucking like that don't give a fuck, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm always a fan of the Dice Man, you know.
Yeah, man. My wife says at the Fully Loaded tour, she really enjoyed Bert, but she liked that was her first time seeing Big J. She
Oh,
likes
Big J's great.
yeah, yeah. She says yeah, she loved that too. So it was awesome for sure. Yeah,
Um,
man.
I mean, cause I watch all those I watch all the comedy podcasts, you know, listen to them all,
Same.
you know. So
Yeah, we
I mean,
do that while we're printing all day for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, man.
I
It's
love
good
this
times.
fucking I love where comedy's at right now. It's a great place for comedy.
It really
So
is. Yeah, man. Cool. Well, let's
all
catch
right,
up
well
soon, man.
don't all right, well don't go anywhere. I'm going to end this, but don't go anywhere. Chad, this has been
10-4.
fun, and
Yeah,
till next time, my friend.
let's do it again.